Hi, welcome to part 2. Right, this is where we left him. Everything's kind of renamed as we want him, and it's up to put the controls on there. Before you start kind of putting the controls, make sure the hands, because the hands are always an area for screwing up. The hands are where you want them. The joints are slightly bent. Clavicles ready. Feet are okay. Here, if I was being really kind of pernickety, I'd say, right, the bones aren't quite in the feet, but I just want to give you guys a flavour of what we're doing, because I'm a bit pushed for time, as always. I'm with 3 kids. Right, so he's fine at the moment. I'm just going to put the leg controls on first. Now, when you do the leg controls, make sure, like me, you've got the PowerPoint that I've done open, because the legs can be a bit they're a bit tricky with kind of putting things in groups and stuff like that, and IKs. Once you start getting everything on top of each other, it can get a bit much. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this layer controls, and layer 3 controls. And in here, I'm just going to put all the controls that we're going to use, and things like IKs and stuff. I'm going to put in there, but I'm only putting the IKs in at the moment for a second. So first things first, all my bones are frozen out, and they'll probably work fine. So I'll get on with putting the IK in. So the first thing to do is go to the IK handle tool, and why does Maya do this? I don't know. Maya guys, if you happen to stumble on this video, please make the rotate plane solver like it is here. It's the default. It's only default because I put it in there. So rotate plane solver, please. There we go. That's fine. I'm just going to grab that, and then I'm just going to put from the hip to the ankle. I'm going to put an IK on there, IK solver. That's the IK handle, and I'm just going to rename that quickly. So that is the characters left hip IK. We'll just have a when the that moves fine. Just want to make sure it moves fine, because I couldn't for a second. Still can't see the line that joins the top to the bottom. I'm just going to do the one leg for the moment. Once you put that IK in, I'm going to grab another IK. Let's go to an IK handle tool, or you can just press G. Put another IK from the ankle to the ball, and from the ball to the toe. We're going to go. This is a forward method to do, and there's also a reverse foot controls. I always use the forward because, well, I kind of like it. I think it's a bit more kind of straightforward than doing the reverse foot controls. I'm sure some would argue with me. Right, so what I'm going to do then, once I put that in, I'm going to grab a curve, put this over here, and I'm going to make it look a bit like a foot. And I always spend a little bit of time doing this. So right click on it, go to the control verts, grab these verts, pull them in. Ooh. You see, this is why I put the joints on a separate layer, so I can freeze them out. Because Maya's got this ridiculous thing. Oh, I've put that joint in. No, I didn't put that joint in. Mary's got this ridiculous thing of prioritising joints to grab. So I'm just making it look approximately like a foot. Now I know I style myself as an artist, but and I'm just going to make it about the same size and length as the actual this foot here. That looks alright. So grab that, and that is the first to go into my controls. So it looks, and it's about the same size and length as that foot there. And it goes on that, and that's the main thing we're going to control. As I said in the lessons, bones are pains in the arses. So bones disappear, they move, the rotations you can't completely freeze, they do all kinds of things, so you need controllers. These are the strings of our puppets. So I'm going to call this is left foot CTRL control. I'm going to make one for the right foot in a bit. So I've got left foot control, and it's zeroed out, and I'm going to delete history on that. Remember, as I said before, if you do delete all by type, non-deformer history, if you get into that kind of idea that deformers, you kind of need deformers, blend shapes of deformer, that you end up with a few deformers on a skeleton like this, and if you don't do that, don't get in the habit of doing that, then you end up destroying things. So it's a rough foot shape there, and this is going to control. We're going to put attributes on here. At the moment I'm just going to take off the visibility and scale just to show you how to do it. So window, general editors, channel control, and belt and braces here. So I'm going to grab all these and move them to the non-keyable hidden, so they're hidden, but somebody can still, thanks Alex, somebody can still go in and mess them around, so I'm going to lock them out as well. So move, so they're locked. Oh, I've put the rotates in. So scales, I want the scales in there. So that's how to lock stuff and make it hidden. You don't actually need to do that. You can. It's all right to kind of lock it that way, but you don't need to do the visibility and stuff. I'm just showing you how. So we've got our foot control here, the controls, and we want to put some attributes on there, which we're going to be using in a bit to move this foot. So now we've got the IKs on there. We've got this IK here. This is, and it's again, it's so important to rename these things. So this is the left ball IK, and the left toe. Okay. So we've got our IKs in there, and they're here. Hello. Right. So we're going to stick these into groups, and we're going to. If you look at the PowerPoint presentation, which I've got on another computer, so I can't kind of drag it into the screen and show you what I'm doing. But if you go down to slide 15, okay, there's a lot of slides before this, and you start putting them into groups. So what you need to do is you need to grab the ball IK, and I'm going to put that in a group. I'm going to call this left ball lift. Bink. Okay, there's left ball lift group. And if you see the pivot points are at the origin, groups are great for having multiple pivot points on the foot and everything. They're great for organising stuff, having objects with different pivot points, so you can just switch to another group. And I like this foot because it's kind of a lazy way of doing a foot. It's not lazy, but it's simple. So you, as an animator, when you want the foot, when they want the character to go on tiptoe, well, pivot around the ball of the foot, you can actually. I don't want to change the colour scheme. Sorry, Windows. I'm in the middle of something. God damn it. When you want to move change the pivot point at the foot so it moves from a different pivot point, if it's in a different group, it's so easy, especially as you just grab an attribute on here and sort it out. So the left ball lift, and the left ball lift pivot point is on the ball of the foot, straight enough. So I'll use this, and I'm just gonna run here. There we go. Just check, yeah, because I'm using it's a laptop. It's got some weird ideas where the insert key is, and why don't they all have them in the same place? So there we go, left ball lift. And then I'm going to grab these other two IKs and put those in a group. So the hip IK, which is really the ankle IK, and the toe IK are in another group. So the I've just gone wrong. So again, I'm not infallible. Hang on. I've gone wrong. Okay, this. I'll rename this now. Dope. Ankle. IK. Stick to the plan, Phil. Stick to the plan. Right. I've just middle mouse dragged that out of there. That should go in there. Cheeky thing. So that should be the ankle IK. And this is the ball lift group. Okay, yeah, that's right. And then the ball and the toe. I'm going to think there's one IK over at the ankle and one IK over at the toe left. But it should be the toe and the ball are in another group. And this group should be called the left toe lift. Okay, right, then these two groups go in a group, so Control G in another group, and this should be called the left toe roll group. Actually, I should prefix these with GRP, I'll go back and do it later on. And then that should go in another group. And this should be the left ankle group. In fact, I'll go. What is it? This is the trouble of doing it on a works laptop. Reminds me about everything. So, what am I doing? What are you doing, Phil? That's the group, for God's sake. Lift. Sorry if it seems as if I'm a bit kind of obsessed with naming things right, but you should be obsessed with naming things right when you're rigging. If there's anybody who's actually a professional rigger still in the industry, you'll know what I mean. You sound like a mother hen sometimes. Right, so the ankle group, well, that should be up there. So that kind of moves the whole ankle, moves everything. The toe roll, well, all the toe rolls are based on the toe. The ball lift, well, that's where it should be. And the toe lift, again, should be here. And if you think about it, the ankle group has got everything in it because it's the top. It takes precedence, so it's the parent of all these groups that we're doing. So it's at the top here, and that contains everything else. So it should go at the top. This takes precedence for everything else. The toe roll group, which is the kind of next down the line, has everything in it as well, but it kind of pivots from this side. So it's got this group, these IKs, and it pivots from there, and that's kind of as if you're putting out a cigarette, or you're rolling your foot this way, or you roll it kind of as if you're putting out a cigarette. This group here, well, both of these groups pivot here. This is the power of groups. So the toe lift group, that's to lift your toe, and that's pivoted there, so that lifts that up, that's fine. And the ball lift, well, this is the ankle IK, and it pivots from there, so it lifts this up. I could break into song, but I won't. No Windows. Yeah, keep the current scheme and don't bother me again. No Windows, no. Right, so that's kind of that. It's half done there. So the next thing I need to do is add the attributes that will drive this, because I don't want to be going in here when I'm animating and moving groups here, there and everywhere. So I'm going to put attributes on here. So I've got rid of the scales and the visibility to make space. So I can modify, add an attribute, and then the first attribute I'm going to do is I'm going to call it in the PowerPoint it says save here, save now. So I'm going to lift the ball, so it's a ball lift, and it's going to go from 0, which is the default, to a maximum of 10. It doesn't really go, it can go down I suppose if you want to put that in. I'm just going to have a whole number, so it's an integer. So things like boolean are on or off, strings are strings. So 0 and 10, so OK, and it goes in there. So it's ready for our set driven key. The next one we're going to add attribute is the toe lift. Attribute, and again that's from 0 to 10, integer, OK, so it's toe lift. So it lifts the ball of the foot and the toe. The next one, I want the toe roll, and I want it in 2 directions, and these are going to be -10 to 10. So add attribute, so toe roll, integer, maximum 10, minimum -10, default, add. Okay, so I want to do this, but actually I want to toe roll Y as if I'm putting out a cigarette. So I'm going to, just to show you, modify edit attribute, the toe roll. I'm going to call it toe roll X. Oh, sorry, Y. Y. Close. Toe roll Y, and create. Modify add attribute toe roll X, minimum -10, maximum 10, integer. Okay, so here's these attributes are going to drive the foot going around, and you need to kind of be a little bit more eagle-eyed about things when you kind of come to see how all these going to move up. What's that doing there? So what I need to do is put a set driven key on all these. Set driven keys. I love set driven keys. So I'm going to do set driven key and make set driven key set. And what I'm doing is I'm loading the driver. I know some of you have a problem there. Load the driver of the foot. So these attributes, the modify add attributes, these attributes are going to drive those groups. So it's attributes to groups. So the first one is the ball lift group, and that drives, surprise surprise, this ball lift group here. So the ball lift attribute drives loaded the driven ball lift group, and that will be a rotate in X. So everything's at 0 at the moment. So I'm just going to key it at 0, and look how that changes. That changes over there to say there's a set driven key here, there's something driving. If you want to get rid of them, you can just rotate and then break connections, but we're not going to on this occasion. And if I unselect anything, the set driven key will stay there where it is. So you need to, if you need to rotate things and stuff, it'll do that. I'm just going to get the joints off template. Oh, actually, put those on because we're just using the groups anyway. So when the ball lift is, and it only goes up to 10. When the ball lift is 10, the ball lift group, and you just basically rotate this, is there. Okay, so it's at 50. I'm just going to put it at 50. I like nice round numbers when I do these things. So just key it, and then that's it. That's the set driven key done. And just try it out. So select the name here and then click, drag side to side. Should be able to see that working. Hey, I don't know why that ball lift actually goes down to minus. Figures, edit attribute, ball lift has a maximum. That's a bit odd. Minimum, maximum 10. So why does it go down to minus? I don't know. Right, moving swiftly on. Right, so the next thing to do is the toe lift. So left foot control toe lift, and we need another group to drive. So this is the toe lift. This is so you can move the toes, and again it's probably going to be rotate X just to check. X, yeah, that'll be rotate X. Yeah, that'll be up there. And again, it's at the moment the toe lift is at 0, and the rotate X is 0. So just key it. I like to select that group. That was the ball lift, wasn't it? Toe lift. Toe lift group, key it. Toe lift group. Hello. Toe lift group, rotate X. Foot control, toe lift. Toe lift key. How come you're not keying? What's going on? Something's going on. The ball lift, the toe lift group. That's the toe lift group. Rotate X. It should have changed colour. So that tells me there's something wrong. So I'll just find out what's wrong, and then I can it's me being stupid. I didn't select the toe lift, I selected the ball lift, so we're doing the toe lift now. Sorry, I was up at 5 this morning with my 1-year-old kicking my head, as usual, as she does. She just kicks my head, pulls my hair, shoves her fingers up my nose, and then laughs about it. It's kids for you. Right, so that's the toe lift group, ball lift group, toe roll group. Well, actually no, I haven't finished this yet. Stay with me, Phil. So when, select the foot again, so when the toe lift is 10, nice round numbers, the toe lift group should be about there, minus 30. Key that. So then we can try that again. So select this fella here. Toe lift. Yeah, so the toe lift works. Does the ball lift still work? Yeah, the ball lift works. The toe lift works. So zero those back. And they both go to minus figures. They shouldn't. Right. So the next one is the toe roll. So the toe roll Y. And these are both on the same group. So rotate Y. So it rotates as if you're putting the so I'll key it in its natural, so this is toe roll Y, toe roll group, load driven, rotate Y. Okay, key. So make sure you get the right group. When this here is 0, keyed that. When that is 10, whoop, something's gone wrong again. Sorry, I just rotated that by 10. It should be the toe roll. So that's when that's 10. The group, toe roll group, should rotate by, I've got to say 20. Key. And when that's minus 10, it springs back, so I know it's right. The toe roll group should rotate by minus 20. And key that. So it's rotating like putting a cigarette out. Zero that back. So that's rigging the legs, rigging the feet. All that remains now is if I grab this, the foot control, all those controls are, close this off. I will put the other toe roll in, but I'll put it in when the video stopped because it's getting rather long at the moment. So I'm just going to grab this, delete, grab that, press the insert, and I'm just going to put the center point of this foot to there, so it moves from there. Press insert again, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this ankle group, and I'm just going to actually grab the controller, then grab the ankle group. I'm going to constrain point, make sure that it maintains offset on and it's all axes, apply, and I'm going to constrain orient, so the rotation to the rotation, so all, apply. So now the foot will follow it when moving or rotating. Sorry, I got the points on. And because I zeroed it out, it should go back to where it should be. Next, as a final, just going to put the null vector on, or pole vector. Sorry, I was a Softimage XSI user. What I'm going to do is create a locator, which is kind of like a null object. Doesn't render, it's just used to attach things through. I'm just going to put it, the point on, at the front of this foot here, this knee, so it's at the front. I'm going to link that to the IK, so grab that, it's null vector, grab the IK, that one there, I'm going to go constrain pole vector, and you know it's worked when you've got that line that goes up to the top of the IK. And it just basically, what has happened is usually have a rotate plane which that triangle of the hip and the ankle sit on. This essentially says where that triangle's pointing. It's really useful if you've got an IK, thank you Gabby, that is a straight chain of bones and you haven't put this tiny little bend in it. When you've got that, it kind of pulls the IK forward to point at that point there, rather than the feet bending backwards. Right, I'll just do that for the other foot. Rename everything properly. Left pole vector CTRL control. Name everything, keep everything neat. and I'll see you on the next tutorial.